There's two of them. Make sure you got money. Number one, everybody knows that. But secondly, I think an example that I can share from what I just shared with the dropping the ball on all those opportunities is remain humble.
Hey everyone, this is Devin Miller here with another episode of the Inventive Journey. I'm your host, Devin Miller, the serial entrepreneur that's grown several startups into 7- and 8-figure businesses, as well as the founder and CEO of Miller IP Law, where he helps startups and small businesses with their patents and trademarks. If you ever need help with yours, just go to strategymeeting.com, and we're always here to help. Now, today we have another great guest on the podcast, Yvan Demosthenes, as close as I can get to his name.
Pretty good.
All right. Just as a quick introduction to Yvan. So Yvan was born in Haiti and migrated to the U.S. with his parents at about 6 months of age, and then grew up in New York till he was about 10 years old, and then moved over to Ohio and went into sales. So I think I got into sales while I was in school doing something else, and decided sales was where he wanted to be, and then got a job at GE or General Electric. Later moved over to Career Builder, built up a lot of relationships, ran into a guy, started talking, became his business partner, didn't know what they wanted to do, but they were going to do something, and that led to where he's at today. So with that much as an introduction, welcome on the podcast, Yvan.
Oh, my pleasure, Devin. Awesome job. You take good notes.
Hey, got to make sure that we give a good introduction for you. So
yeah,
I gave the 30-second kind of quick run through of your whole journey, and pretty hard to take it into 30 seconds. So why didn't take us a bit back in time to where your journey started in Haiti and how you got to where you're at today?
Yeah, so I was a baby when I came over. This was 1970. So the disco 70s, and lived in New York. My father, who's a physician, psychiatrist, decided he wanted to move to, of all places, Lima, Ohio. Moved there. Diversity kind of became the forefront of everything I was, because I went from a neighborhood and schools that was really the United Nations of neighborhoods, of communities, going to a place where I stuck out like a sore thumb. And trust me when I say, Devin, there weren't a lot of Haitians living in Lima, Ohio at the time.
Fair enough. I'll take your word for it. I lived in Cleveland for a while, but never been to there. So now you've grown up there.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead.
Yeah. So went to school, thought I was going to follow in the family legacy of medicine, uncles and aunts, all in medicine, surgeons, etc. But had the opportunity to discover sales, and out of college, became very intrigued with the behavior of the sales process, right? The relationship building, the picking up on sales cues, etc. It was just fascinating to me. So
one quick question for that, just because, so assuming you went to high school, did you kind of go into sales out of high school? Did you go to some college and decide sales was your path?
I was
graduated, or where did that go?
I went to the university. Yeah, so when I went to the University of Cincinnati, which since you spent some time in Cleveland, you know it's by far the best university in the state of Ohio, let alone the country.
I'll go second best to Case Western, but I'll give you a second best.
Yeah, second best, yeah. But close second, but still second. But go Cats. And my undergrad was in natural science with a concentration in biology, with the hopes of going into medical school and following in the family footsteps. And along the way, we all have our own little journeys. And I had a buddy who was in the retail business. He owned a chain of furniture stores, kind of unusual for a young mid-20 something someone to have a chain of stores. But he came from that type of background. Both sides of his family were in that industry. So literally, he's 2-3 years older than me, and needed somebody that he could trust to come on board. Next thing you know, I'm working with him. And he was great at sales. He'd been living this his whole life. I mean, he could zero in on somebody who had no intention of buying anything but before they left, they were signing their name on the dotted line, right?
Mhm.
What brings you into the store today? You looking for anything in particular? All these nuances, reading the customer, picking up on cues, etc., and building those relationships so those customers would come back,
Mm.
right? So a lot of repeat customers, and as my sales abilities grew, I ended up going to GE, great company, and some people just recognized my abilities, and then suggested.
So what, yeah, because one question, because, going from a smaller sales position to GE, I mean, GE is certainly a big company, has a lot of branches. So how did you, first of all, what made you decide to make that transition over? And then how did you accomplish it?
Well, Devin, that's a question not a lot of people have asked me in a very long time. So you got to imagine this was about 25 years ago, over 20 years ago. So my buddy, like a lot of friends, fell in love and decided to get married. And it was now a family business rather than just one person's business.
Mm.
And a lot of the rapport that we had during work and after work didn't necessarily fly anymore. So basically, we weren't going to all the parties that we were going to before, right? So it made sense to move on, and had the opportunity at General Electric, and we were selling IT hardware and software. At the time, GE was one of the largest, if not largest, IT software and hardware resellers in the world. They had purchased several entities to create one huge company within GE Capital at the time, and it was based here in Cincinnati, which was pretty cool to be part of all that. And then one of my supervisors came to me. He said that the only thing I was missing was a better business sense, better more acumen in business. And he recommended that I pursue my MBA, which opened a whole new world to me. I had no idea like the business world really existed, even though I was in it. I was so focused on sales, but now I realize the true and full impact of sales. I started seeing, everybody's salesperson, from the person behind the cashier register asking you if you want extra socks to go with your outfits, to the salesman at the car lot, to professionals that are providing a service, such as attorneys, accountants, everybody. They need to make you feel comfortable, right? There's certain type of sales that goes to that. You need to feel comfortable from somebody that you're seeking a service from. And through that, I had the opportunity to get on board with Career Builder, and really that was my wheelhouse. I feel as though I'm a people person.
So one question on that. So working at GE, decided, hey, I want to get kind of a bit more business background or acumen or kind of whatever that might be. So when I assume that you went and did the MBA full time and left GE, is that right?
No, I did my MBA while I was still working.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
I was. Yeah. So I was a grown up, just trying to better myself at that point. Working full time, and the program that I went to was through a liberal arts college, which I happen to adjunct there to upper level students, seniors getting ready to graduate. It's an advanced course, and really a lot of the things that I learned along the way and through MBA, because I really strongly feel that good salespeople are ethical salespeople. They're ethical people, and they see the impact that they have, not only on their customer, being a good advocate for their company as well. And really, when you're a good salesperson, you're really bringing new ideas, new methodologies, new thoughts, new technology to organizations that without you, they may never have the opportunity to even consider, let alone try. Right. So I like to think salespeople make the world go around, even if you don't have the title as a salesperson. You're bringing yourself, you're selling yourself in certain instances. You're selling your products, you're selling your ideas, all those things.
So now because kind of one question to follow up on that. So you were working at GE saying, okay, I'm going to better myself, went and got the MBA. At what point did you decide to go to, switch jobs and go to the more of the recruiting side with the next step of your adventure was, hey, gone as far as I can with GE, or this is a better opportunity, or kind of what might caused you to make the switch?
Yeah. So at that time, if people want to look it up, when GE made all these purchases to become this huge entity within GE Capital, they went from a multi-billion-dollar company to $30 million. So billions to just a handful of millions. It was, fortunately, I was in a division where we were really the only things keeping the last few people afloat. So I was in transition when the opportunity to come on board to Career Builder presented itself. As a matter of fact, it was a friend that had recommended me to Career Builder because she had just given her resignation that day because she got a job at Procter and Gamble. They were starting a new pharmaceutical division at the time. And she just got on board and said, hey, I know for a fact they're looking for someone because I gave my 2 weeks today. Be more than happy to recommend and refer you. And I'll tell you, it was a great experience. I made some great friends there. The manager there himself, I got to tell you, if I didn't have that MBA on my resume, I don't think he would have hired me. We're great friends now. We support each other's families. I love their kids, and he's been over to every family event here. But I remember him looking at that. He was kind of perplexed, and he looked at the bottom and said, "Oh, you have your MBA?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You're hired," right on the spot. And taught me a lot of things. I realized that this was really my natural space in the human capital world, because I love talking about people. I love connecting people, and focusing on talent acquisition really, gave me what the energy for not only my sales ambitions, but to connect, present, provide, and seek out relationships to grow my business, my personal book of business, and everything else that you can imagine. So it was really a great fit for me. And then, as chance would have it, Monster came calling, came on the Monster, continued to do that. And right about that time, I started putting some things together. So all those things I mentioned to you before, it's like, hey, my whole career, I've primarily been transactional, like these cold calls. When I would get somebody on the phone, although I'm a relational person, always open to meeting people, wanting to share everything that I had to offer to them, I was really transactional. I really coveted that one call sale, that one call close, or speeding through the process to deliver whatever I needed to deliver. And what I discovered is when I did my best, and when I really brought it home, the big ones, it was through relationships and solution selling. Right.
Now so now and it makes sense, okay, you get into love sales, evolve in your business or evolve in your career to expand and to take on additional roles, and you go through a couple companies come calling. Now maybe jumping forward just a bit in time, now looking kind of at how you got into doing startup, small business, working with the other individually doing, how did that transition, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so pretty much with the relationships that I'm building, right, I learned how to, hey, we're not just selling these widgets. I'm not selling a commodity. Yeah, those may be enter or start the conversation with, what begins the whole process. So I started seeing how building these relationships led to multiple opportunities that recurred over and over and over again. I like to call it being a trusted advisor, right? So my wife, when we got married, she would get angry at me because my phone was ringing all hours of the day and night and on weekends. And I would just smile at her. And I'm like, hey, if a client calls me on a Saturday morning, then I know I've got a great relationship with them. So taking that to what you asked me, I had the entrepreneurial spirit and ran into a gentleman called Sean Hamilton, who I like to share with others that he is an Air Force veteran. And as we started chatting, getting to know each other, we had a lot of similarities, and our approaches to business were very, very similar. And he really wanted to find ways to grow career-wise, grow professionally, and at the same time give back to not only those that he served with, but his community and as much to the country as he could. And one way that we thought that we could do that was, through recruiting and providing opportunities to individuals that all these companies had to offer, match them up, right? And when the opportunity arose, we provide some diversity recruiting, because the military is and veterans and their family members to us are considered part of that diversity spectrum, right? They travel around, they bring different perspectives, different global knowledge to whatever organization that they want. And truly, in my eyes and in my partner's eyes, we view diversity as bringing deep diversity of knowledge and experiences to whatever group, entity, organization that you're able to bring it to. So we created our organization, Hamilton Demo, around that premise. And then we also certified ourselves as a certified veteran-owned company in VBE within the Department of Veteran Affairs, which we're very proud of. And with that, we've done some pretty cool things. So to my point, we've started conversations where we're doing executive search or placement, maybe filling a recruiting need that is immediate. But from there, we've helped consult around the whole talent acquisition or recruiting process within organizations. We started off working with enterprise companies, but over the past few years, and we've been around going on our 4th year, but over the past few years, we've realized that the bulk of our revenue comes from small and medium-sized companies that are growing. There's a lot of them out there. And, they as they ramp up and as they grow, they have a lot of recruiting needs, not just only with human capital, but with technology and processes as well. And we've been able to integrate different solutions from strategic partners and other resources that we have to help those organizations. So we've become stickier, we've become more valued, we've become that trusted advisor where we help them with pretty much a lot of things outside of even talent acquisition, right? So it's been a fun ride so far. Got a lot of things on the deck that we're super excited about, from new clients to clients that we've worked with in the past couple of years that have introduced us to other clients in everything from nonprofits to colleges and universities, and also other growing companies. And gosh, Devin, it's exciting. I mean, we're getting ready to embark on some deeper opportunities for government sales as well. So this is an exciting time for us.
Well, sounds like a lot going on and a pretty exciting time. So no, that was a fun walk through a bit of your journey and hearing kind of the different pivots and transitions you make. So with that in mind, kind of leads us to the two questions I always ask at the end of the podcast. So we'll jump to those now. So with it along your journey, what was the worst business decision you ever made, and what'd you learn from it?
Oh, wow. So let me this is a good one. So people share that you can drown from opportunity. And I experienced that firsthand. I never thought that could happen. But we connected with a wonderful person who shared with us his ability to help generate leads for us. And we were like, hey, let's take advantage of this. Well, Devin, let me tell you, this is one of the worst business decisions we made, because not because it didn't work, it worked too well. We were not prepared for the influx of leads that came to us. We didn't have the internal infrastructure to support and to manage it. And what that led to was a lot of confusion within our company, to the point where we did not look professional at all. We dropped the ball so many times. It was really a bad experience. And for those clients that we missed out on, that we didn't put our best foot forward, although we may never reconnect with those individuals or companies, we want them to know that we learned from it and we're better. That will never happen again, right?
No, and I think that definitely makes sense. And is this one where you think it'll never happen, and it's a good problem to have, in the sense it's always better to have too much work than it is to not have enough work. And yet people think, oh, you can get taken care of, you can handle it. But if, on the other hand, if you are now, your quality is suffering, if you're not able to make the deadlines, if you're not meeting expectations because you have so much work, then it makes it difficult. And then people start to have a bad experience, and it can actually have the reverse effect of people, or, you get a bad reputation, or they give you bad reviews, or they don't want to come back. And so I think there is that balance where you have to make sure, as you grow, that you can maintain the same level of service, and you have the ability to grow with that, so that you can make sure to keep a good experience for everyone. So I think that's a great or an easy mistake to make, but something great to learn from. Now, as we jump to the second question, which is, if you're talking to somebody that's just getting into a startup or a small business, what'd be the one piece of advice you'd give them?
So if I can use that same example that I use, there's obviously tons of examples of advice that you can give. There's two of them. Make sure you got money. Number one, everybody knows that. But secondly, I think an example that I can share from what I just shared with the dropping the ball on all those opportunities is remain humble, because you can be humble but still not be humble. I feel like I'm humble, but truly, as you're gaining success and you start to feel really good about yourself, I really felt like I could handle anything. My partner felt that we were just, things were just, everything that came up to the plate, we were knocking it out the park. So, hey, if you're going to generate us leads, just send them over. We'll make it happen. Well, you know what? That was probably an opportunity that, hey, even as good as we were feeling, and we had the right to feel that way, a little bit of humble pie may have allowed us to take a deep breath and kind of gauge things a little bit better, so we would not have experienced that. So I'd say remain humble, and in connection with that too, I guess I'm answering three questions, giving you three answers. But as you remain humble, always try to do the best for your clients and for everybody around you. I think if you try to keep to that, seek success, and as you're being successful and growing and attaining all these great things that entrepreneurship and being a business owner can give you, you bring others up with you and make other organizations better. There's no better feeling than that.
I think that's great advice, and great answers to the question. So thank you. So
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, as we wrap up, if people want to reach out to you, they want to hire you, they want to be a customer, they want to be a client, they want to be an employee, they want to be an investor, they want to be your next best friend, any or all of the above, what's the best way to reach out to you, contact you, find out more?
Well, I love to share my phone number. People tell me not to, but I'm going to share my phone number because I'm a salesperson, and every salesperson at their heart wants to give out their phone number, and that's 513-257-9683, 513-257-9683. And Devin, really quick story. I said that number so often in front of my laptop on the phone that my kids memorized that number. And when they were little at school, whenever I was late to pick them up, they would recite that number just the way I said it there. So please give me a call. Also, you can go to Hamilton Demo. That's HamiltonDemo.com. And you can find out all you want about us. And my number is on the site as well. Or you can feel free to send us an email. That email is there. You can send it to Yvan with the Y, YVAN at HamiltonDemo.com. Or you can send it to admin at HamiltonDemo.com. Or give Devin a call, shoot him a line. He'll be more than happy to share the information with you.
Absolutely. I think that's great ways to connect, and definitely encourage people to reach out and do so.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Yvan, for coming on the podcast. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. Now, for all of you that are listeners, if you have your own journey to tell and you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, we'd love to have you. Just go to inventiveguest.com to apply to be on the show. 2 more things as a listener. 1, make sure to click subscribe in your podcast player so you know when all of our awesome episodes come out. And 2, leave us a review so everyone else can find out about all of our awesome episodes. Last but not least, if you ever need help with patents, trademarks, or anything else, just go to strategymeeting.com. We're always here to help. Thank you again, Yvan, and wish the next leg of your journey even better than the last.
Yeah, thanks, man.